Welcome back, everybody. In this video, our focus is going to be lesson number 35. And lesson number 35 is just a continuation of the notes that we've learned, the last two notes we're learning on the sixth string, namely E and F. By the way, you now know three E's: E on the sixth string, E on the fourth string, and E on the first string. So three octaves. You also now know F in three different places. F on the sixth string, F on the fourth string, and F on the first string. And by the way, in case you haven't realized it, the notes on the sixth string are the same thing as the notes on the first string. E, F, G, E, F, G. It's just this one is 2 octaves lower than the high E. The low E is 2 octaves lower than the high E. So, fun fact, more octaves for you. Now, before we run through this lesson, I want to take a moment to go over with, well, not really go over with you, but list all of the things we've learned so far up until this point, lesson 35, which is actually the last note that introduces these two notes. Because in lesson number 36, we're going to be learning some new concepts, and I want to make sure that we take the time to summarize all of the things that we've learned so far, because we've gone over quite a bit. I have my list here because it was a lot. I couldn't remember it. I couldn't list them off on a whim here. So, first thing we learned are obviously the notes, all the notes on the first through the sixth string, the natural notes. So that's obviously fun. Not only where to play them on the guitar, but what they look like on the on the staff notation. You're learning about notation. Let's see, what else? Dynamics. We learned about pianissimo, piano, mezzo forte, forte, and fortissimo. We learned about crescendos, getting loud, decrescendos, getting quietly, and these are gradual, right? We learned about writs. A writ just means you slow down. We usually apply those at the end, right? We learned about tosto and ponticello, different sounds that the guitar can make depending on where you play the instrument. We learned about legato and staccato. That's a more recent one, right? Legato meaning the notes are connected, and staccato meaning they're nice and short, right? The gaps that we're listening for. We learned about relaxation and breath. I wish we had gone over this a bit. I wish I had gone over this a bit more often with you. But learning how to relax your shoulders, your hands, paying attention to your breath. When you exhale, we tend to be in our most relaxed state. We learned about string crossings, awkward string crossings. When your middle finger plays a fifth string, for example, and then our index finger plays the fourth string. That would be an example of an awkward string crossing. We learned about avoiding nail noise. Okay, by turning our hand ever so slightly to avoid this, and instead get this nice pure sound. We learned about first position. I only talked about this briefly, but first position meaning your first finger is in charge of all the notes on the first fret. Your second finger is in charge of all the notes on the second, so on and so forth. So in other words, in fifth position, your first finger is in charge of all the notes in the fifth fret. Your second finger is in charge of all the notes in the sixth fret. Would be 12, 11, 10. This would be ninth position. Your first finger is in charge of all the notes on the ninth fret. Your middle finger is in charge of all the notes. Your second finger, the left hand should be labeled as first, second, third, fourth finger. I'm sorry, my apologies. The right hand should be index, middle, and ring. I tend to use them interchangeably, and I know that might confuse some of you. That's why I keep correcting myself. So positions on the guitar, essentially. We learned about rest strokes and free strokes. Your fingers resting on the next adjacent string, meaning rest strokes, right? And then free strokes meaning your fingers move freely into the palm of your hand. And then the concept of octaves, which we already briefly touched on. A and A. E, E, E. So that's quite a lot. So hopefully that doesn't seem like too much because we've been doing this one lesson at a time. If you feel you don't have a grasp on one of those concepts, just keep those in the back. Keep that one in the back of your head moving forward. You don't want to go backwards. just focus on those things that you need to focus on in the next lesson, and then in the next lesson, so on and so forth, so we can continue to notice our progression. So let's go ahead and finish off by this video by obviously playing lesson 35. Watch, I don't believe there are any string crossings. No, there are no string crossings. If there are, I've missed them. So if you want to double check yourself, you're obviously welcome to. Let's just run through the lesson. We'll play this kind of quickly. Let's do it twice. You know what? Let's do it twice. We'll do piano, staccato, and ponticello. Piano meaning quietly, staccato meaning short notes, and ponticello meaning over here. I'm kind of playing what I'm trying to explain to you. So the whole thing is going to be here, quietly, staccato. So 3 different things that you have to focus on for this playthrough. Lesson 35 on my count. Here's your tempo, by the way. We'll make it kind of quick. We'll do that. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, stop. You notice when you combine all of these different elements, you can start to get, the music starts to have its own sort of character, right? It makes it much more easy to come up with a visual. So let's try it again. And this time, let's play forte, tosto, and legato. Tosto, over here. Forte, loud, and legato. No gap. No gap. This is staccato. This is what I don't want, right? I want... Okay, try to avoid that scratchiness as much as possible. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, let's try that again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that one is going to have a different sort of vibe, a different feel, right, than we did earlier. So that concludes this video. The next video we'll be learning about something called eighth notes, a new rhythmic value. And yeah, that's it. Congratulations, you've learned all of the notes, and hopefully you've mastered, or will have mastered very soon, all of these different, well, different techniques and things, articulations that we've gone over so far. I will see all of you in lesson number 36.